Okay, this video is going to go over solving quadratics when they're difference of squares. You can tell that it's a difference of squares because it's going to have just two things. So like 4x squared minus 25 has two items. It's a binomial. You have the 4x squared part and you have the minus 25 part. Also, generally, difference of squares will be a minus in the middle. And lastly, the number associated with this is probably going to be a perfect square. So when I say perfect square, I'm talking about like these numbers. These numbers right here are perfect squares. So that's how you can tell that it's a difference of squares right off the bat. Now, in order to actually factor them, let's imagine that 4x squared minus 25. In order to actually factor them, you have to go and get the root of these things. So the root of 4x squared is 2x. That's your A. The root of the second thing, 25, is 5. That's your B. So now that I know A and B, I just plug it into these equations. So this one, A plus B, would be 2x plus 5. A minus B would be 2x minus 5. And once you have it factored, you can set it equal to 0 and then just set each of the factors equal to 0 and solve like this. I'm showing you all my work on this one in terms of once it's factored and solving, but don't expect me to show all my work for every single one of these problems. You should be good enough at solving that I don't have to show my work for every single one of these. But that's how you do it. Basically, identify it as a difference of squares, square root each thing to get your A and your B, and then just plug it in. And so like the better you get at this, the more you'll realize it's just A and B, and in the middle, one's a plus and one's a minus. So now let's start looking at all these. This first one is a difference of squares. If you square root x squared, you get x. If you square root 36, you get 6. So this is x plus 6, x minus 6 equals 0. Set each factor equal to 0 and solve, and you get your answers. The next one I already did. That's to the right over there. Okay, this third one, if you square root 36x squared, you get 6x. If you square root 49, you get 7. So this one is 6x plus 7, 6x minus 7. And by the way, it doesn't matter which one you put plus or minus first. Like I could have wrote 6x minus 7 and then 6x plus 7. The order doesn't really matter with these. Set each of these factors equal to 0 and solve. And you're done with it. Okay, moving right along. This next one, square root each thing. Write one as a plus, one as a minus. So this one's 3x plus 8. 3x minus 8 equals 0. Set each factor equal to 0. And solve it. Okay, next one, the square root of 144 is 12. So this one becomes x plus 12, x minus 12 equals 0. Set each factor equal to 0 and solve. All right, this one, number 6, I don't know if it's a typo. Maybe they meant to put x squared minus 16, or maybe they meant to have it like this. But here's how you would do it. If you're already struggling with this a little bit, you might just want to fast forward. But if you're an advanced mathematician, this is a good piece of information to know, especially if you plan on going to pre-cal or if you're going to do college algebra. So the first thing is, for it to be a difference of squares, it has to be a minus in the middle. So this one being a plus in the middle, you couldn't really call it a difference of squares unless you rewrote it like this. Now, it's like x squared minus negative 16. So my b squared is negative 16. That's what you're going to have to root. So when you root the x squared, that gives you your x, which is your a value. When you root negative 16, it's 4i, like this. That's your b. The reason it's 4i is because the root of 16 is 4. That part's easy. But when you have a negative in your root, it results in the letter I outside of the root. Okay? So let's just keep moving. So if I factored this, it would look like x plus 4i, x minus 4i equals 0. Then set each of those factors equal to 0 and solve. That's kind of a weird one though. So just something to know though. All right, moving right along. This one, the root of 4 is 2, so this one's like x plus 2, x minus 2 equals 0. Set each factor equal to 0. That one's easy. The next one, root of 100 is 10, so that first part's 10x. Then the root of 9 is 3, so it's 10x plus 3, 10x minus 3 equals 0. Set each factor equal to 0 and solve it. So those were all difference of squares. Now it looks like they want us to do some mixed factoring. So they kind of threw in some trinomials as well. So here we go. If it equals 0, you can go ahead and factor trinomials like normal. Hopefully you watched that other video that I posted showing you how to do this, but basically rainbow 1 times the 5. This is what they have to multiply to. They have to add up to the middle number 6. So it's just 1 and 5. You put those over your first number, which is 1. Then you write the bottom, x, then the top. Bottom, x, then the top. And then once it's factored, you can set each of those factors equal to 0 and solve it just like the others. Like this. And again, if you're wondering how I'm getting those answers, I told you I was not going to show you all my work for every single one of these, but it's like this. Once you have it in factored form, you take each of those factors, set it equal to 0, and solve it. Okay, the next one, notice the difference. Like the one we just did had 3 terms, so it was a trinomial. This one that we're about to do has 2 terms, so it's a binomial. It's a difference of squares. It's a giveaway because 4 is a perfect square. All right, so factor it as a difference of squares, 2x plus 1, 2x minus 1 equals 0. Then set each of those factors equal to 0 and solve. Like that. Okay, this next one is a trinomial. You don't know that yet because you haven't moved the 18. You have to minus 18 first. Okay. My screen's freaking out a little bit. That's all right. All right, so now I would rewrite it, x squared minus 7x minus 18 equals 0. Factor it like a trinomial. So put the 1 down and multiply. So these have to multiply to be negative 18 and add up to be negative 7. It's going to be 2 and negative 9. Put them over your a value, 1. Then write the bottom, x, then the top. Bottom, x, top. Solve each of these. Like that. And then this last one is another trinomial. Iterated equals 0, so that's helpful for me. So I just rainbow multiply these things. I have to find a combo of numbers that multiplies to be negative 60 and adds up to be negative 11. It's going to be 4 and negative 15. Put them over your a value, which was 3. You have to reduce. All right, now you can write the bottom, x, and then the top. Set them both equal to 0 and solve. All right, and that covers it. So I hope this video was helpful. Difference of squares students generally like because they're much easier than trinomials, unless you get one like this. But again, that was kind of an advanced problem. So hope this video helped.